punch you. I shaved it off and my daughter was like, no, Danny, you need to get it back. Because she likes to, when she's clutching up to me, she likes to just pull it like that. She'll just be sat there with her arm up.
Yeah.
Twist, twist, twist. Little things.
Little things in life, hey?
I thought, fuck it. And a few people were like, I know your face. It's funny how people recognise you just by one facial feature. Not the fact that I'm nearly 7 foot tall.
No, it's like, you're like, hey, I'm Big Scott. What do you do?
Who am I? Big Scott is, as we were just saying a minute ago off camera, I'm a military hippie. So I come from a military stroke hippie background. My ancestors were all forces. My mother was forces, but then she was more on the wayward side, experimenting with life, went to sort of a few protests, etc., etc. My father was an atheist, my mother was a Catholic, so I've got a pretty diverse balance, so I call myself a military hippie. When I do stuff, I do it with a military mind. Doesn't mean that I go out and shoot people, but I do it logistically. Plan to fail is failing to plan. So that's Big Scott. I've used all those principles. I started on a pirate radio station in the late 80s, and I was known as Uncle T, the T being for tiny. So basically, me being a cheeky little git, I wanted to create a youth magazine. I needed to get some funding. One of the people that I approached for funding was a radio network called Fresh FM, which was from 5HQ, so some of the old drum and bass DJs, DJ SS and all of them, it was their stable. I was in there one day saying, oh, who does the radio shows? I could do one of these. Unbeknownst to me, the main guy that was running it was stood next to me and went, oh, you can you, Tiny? Right, there you go. You've got a slot this Sunday for the next 6 months. I said, well, what do you want me to do? He says, well, you just told me you can do it. Get on with it. So on a Sunday evening, I did a talk show, and I would pick key issues. I was living in a rundown community. I used to live in Highfields, where used to have riots in the 70s and 80s. So it was a dysfunctional community, so all I wanted to do was to create some form of cohesion. So if you wanted to learn something, because I wanted to learn at the same time, this was what the magazine was about. The local resource centre had the facilities, being a barrel printer and reams of paper, but they couldn't afford to do anything else. So 5HQ they stepped in, I did the talk show. Off the back of that, I managed to get 3,000 magazines produced and handed out into the local community. A few people said to me, oh, you should think about going into journalism. So I begged, borrowed and stole a certain amount of money to get myself down to London to do an MBQ level 3 in journalism. Did all the training, did the course, failed the course on ethics because basically I couldn't sell my grandmother. But at the same time, part of the course module is I had to get work experience, so I worked with the Big Breakfast, Greater London Radio, etc., etc. That's given me a real insight into the other side of media and advertising. And when I went to Greater London Radio, it was like a calling home. It was just like, yeah, I feel really comfortable here. So I was down there for 3 years, worked for the Big Breakfast as NPARS researcher, which was probably one of the best jobs that I ever had. Do you know what I mean? To work in a creative environment where enthusiasm was encouraged. Do you know what I mean? You went in there, you weren't going, oh, I've got to get up and go to work today. You were actually buzzing that you were going in there, and ideas that you were thinking about would actually coming into fruition. So I used to have to create end of parts, little segues to fill in for the show to basically get the presenter to do some weird and wacky stuff. So I got him to stop in a haunted castle. We did silly competitions where students threw their knickers out of windows and somebody had to catch them in drawers, all sorts of weird and crazy times, and Zig and Zag were the highlight of the time there. So that gave me real inspiration. I ran out of money, came back to the UK, came back to the Midlands, did a little bit for some community radio stations, etc., etc. Tried to set up a business about getting out about after the 9 to 5, the business was called. So basically you paid a membership fee. Once a month you could come out on a trip with us and we would go into clubs, and if you wanted to go karting, you told us what it was, you'd arrange it. That fell on its arse after I'd been approved, because it then turned out I needed more money than necessary for the minibuses that I needed. So after investing all that money, I was down on my luck. I was flicking through the stage and there was a thing, are you interested in radio? Do you want an end qualification? Come to Wales. So I came to Wales in 1999 to get a qualification in radio, because none of the mainstream industry were taking me serious, because I come from a pirate background, and as far as they were concerned that wasn't real radio, whereas to me that is because he's the voice of the people. So I went to Coleg Harlech, which is in mid Wales, so I studied under a castle for 2 years, doing theatre, stage management. I was one of the top 3 radio presenters on the module. I was taught by an amazing woman called Jenny Isabel,
Okay, sorry, continue.
who was she was BBC World Service presenter producer for 12 years. So she gave me a real grounding. But if you ask her, she says she didn't give me a grounding. I had it within me, and I was one of the best pupils that she's ever wanted to work with. So she infused my passion for world music and real music and original music. So I moved to Aberystwyth in 2001, 2002 to work with part of the technical team up there. Ended up working on hospital radio again there. Tried to get in with various sort of known radio stations, but to no avail. So I moved. I was there for seven or 8 years. Met my little one's mum. Moved down to Cardiff. Volunteered with a local community radio station. Was there for about 4.5, 5 years. Wasn't quite what I was looking for again. It just seemed to be a little bit unmilitary, should we say? And it's going back to what I was saying. It's organised. If everybody knows what they're doing, then it should all come together cohesively. So we parted company a year ago in December, and since then, that's when U&I Radio started to come into existence. And basically, U&I Radio my intention is a universal, unsigned global network. So I want to syndicate with with major continents and different countries. At the moment, it's really hard to, if you want to listen to unsigned music, you have to go to this station for maybe an hour here or 2 hours there, and then go over to another station for an hour or 2 hours here, or another station here for an hour or so. But it's all specific fields, whereas me, I don't know from minute to minute what music I want to listen to, but I want to listen to something new. You know, I'm in the car with my little one and we flick through all the mainstream terrestrial channels, and it's the same thing. We've done it ourselves. You know, you click on, I don't want to listen to it on that channel. You click to 3 others and exactly the same song is playing at exactly the same time. And you're like, no, I just want to hear something different. I want to hear something diverse, and not have it cut away into terrible news and disasters and stuff like that. There's plenty of channels for that. So U&I Radio stands for Unsigned and Inspired. So the whole principle of it is when you come to U&I Radio, hopefully you'll discover and listen to something new, or hear or find something creative that you can do. It's all about the creative mindset and sharing skills of music and knowledge.
So, what inspired you to start radio?
Well, I think, as I say, it all started at Fresh FM, given that opportunity, and basically here's the airwaves, having no experience at all, but realising that, to me, it's probably one of the most powerful mediums that there is. What you say and the prep work that you put behind a show makes people think, feel or react in a certain way. So whereas comparative to a film, that, you know, if somebody does a book adaptation or something, they will cut, edit and create the visual imagery that they perceive or that they want the listener or the viewer to see. Whereas with radio, I'm painting a picture, or any presenter paints a picture with words, and every person that's listening to it, they're listening to exactly the same words, but it's then left to their own imagination to fill in the missing blanks. You know, 2 seconds of silence on radio can sound like an eternity. So you can paint a picture and it's just like getting a white brush and just going straight across it. You lose the momentum. So it's personal. It's very, very personal. It took me a long time to find my personality on radio, because I was thinking, well, what do people want to listen to? What, you know, and then it's, well, do I say this, don't I say that, or don't I say whatever? The art of being a presenter, and the thing that I like, it gives you a platform to be yourself. You know, especially we live in a communication technology where you're bombarded with so much information. I'm the same, and me, when I come onto the station, what I'm hoping is that you tune in to listen to me because you're on the same wavelength. You might not necessarily like every tune that I've got, but we've got a personality. It's a personal bond. Even though you're not seeing anybody, you know, you're creating a bond because it's memory, you know, but you've created, we've shared that memory. Do you know what I mean? I've given you the words, you've painted the picture. And if you can associate the picture with words, then it's more powerful than looking at somebody else's interpretation of a picture, because you've had no input with the creative content. So it's a collaboration, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You may not be able to have a TV, but there's always somebody in a corner with a little radio. Do you know what I mean? And it's personal, and that's what I think about. As much as it's expansive, and it's never died. Radio has never died, and I think with anything, with today's technology made, radio is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm glad in a way that I am a bit of a techie head, because having a techie head and the experience in radio, I'm utilising social media. You know, we don't carry little FM radios around now with batteries, but we've got a phone, we've got the technology, so you don't really need FM frequencies. So radio is expanding. As much as we're cutting back on FM waves and AM waves, digital is the way forward. Do you know what I mean? So with that outreach from my front room, you can influence somebody or inspire somebody the other side of the world. And I think that's, to me, is the fundamental thing. But it also comes with a level of responsibility, because you could say something flippant or something stupid and it could drastically affect somebody's life. Do you know what I mean? So the reason that I'm in radio is to inspire, encourage and uplift people, whether it be through my shows or other shows. I want it to be a worldwide show, but also through new and interesting music.
Cool. So, what kind of artists have you worked with in the past? What ones have inspired you as a person, or?
I have a pretty diverse. If you're asking me musically, where do my influences come from? My father was very rock-driven and guitar-led music, so he used to like Dire Straits, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Queen, and then he goes diverse as Uriah Heep, you know, Deep Purple. And then my mother would be the power singers, you know, Tina Turner, Kate Bush, Barbra Streisand, all of those, but then heavily influenced with reggae, soul, Motown and blues. And my dad liked his blues, so as a child there was always music playing. My dad would have a reel-to-reel. He was so pretentious with his music. He would buy the vinyl, he would play it once to record it onto the reel-to-reel, then it would go back in its sleeve, and then it would stay there, and it would only be played on special occasions. If you said you were a Queen fanatic in our house, if we invited you around for a little soiree, then you said you were a Queen fanatic, out come the slide projector, and he would bombard you for about 5 or 6 hours with Queen. Do you know what I mean? So they were my base influence, but I was influenced by John Peel. I love John Peel. Do you know what I mean? Tuning into his shows, you'd hear something, and I have a similar thing, and I call them my Marmite bands. You either love them or you hate them. Do you know what I mean? But he was a very influential man on mine and a lot of people's lives, and I think his diversity is one of the things that I hold on to. Do you know what I mean? I don't care what style of music it is, where it's from. It's all about, does it make me feel something? Does it make me want to do something? Or does it make me think in a certain way? And that's all dependent on what mood you are in at the time. So I will always give as many songs as I can. But listen, you know, it's at that stage now where I've got more music coming in than I can actually physically listen to on a weekly basis. So there's more things to be discovered. Do you know, I'm only scratching the surface, and I think any presenter or promoter out there of music, new and unsigned music, you will never ever 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 hear the total amount that's out there. Do you know what I mean? There's so much more to be discovered. I've linked up with a site, somebody sent one of it. There's genres of music that I've never even heard of before. Do you know what I mean? And that's the exciting thing about it. I think that's the exciting thing about radio and new music with these new platforms. I can click in. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to wait for some person to tell me what they're in their 2-hour slot. This is who they think you should listen to. The market is open, and if you're tech savvy enough, there's plenty of new avenues. You know?
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about new and upcoming artists, sort of like, especially these days, because everything just seems so samey when it's mainstream.
Yeah.
It's very rare.
It seems to
you
be
get
what's the
something
flavour of the month. You know, somebody makes a hit, it sells hundreds of thousands, and then within the next month, everybody else is trying to get something that's similar. Do you know what I mean? There's a standard, it comes in, and what the mainstream says it is, then that's what influence, and it also affects sort of local, independence as well, because people think, well, that's the style of music that's in the charts, this is whatever, but they're two completely different things. Do you know what I mean? Mainstream, as I say to a lot of the artists that I sort of try and help along the way, the music industry is a game. Now, there's two ways to play that game. If you're going to go mainstream, then you've got to realise that it's a business. It's no longer just your music that is the main thing. It's all about marketing, branding, and being a puppet on a string. And it's up to you whether you want to pull those strings, or you let somebody else pull those strings, or you become an independent artist. And I've interviewed artists that have been doing it themselves for 30 years and doing quite well, thank you very much. Do you know what I mean? So if you've got the passion, it depends what you want out of it,
Like, for example, Maddie Jones. I find Maddie Jones an extremely interesting human being just because she does everything herself, and she does it quite capably. She's a local artist, she's been here in the Safe House before. But yeah, when you think of like Maddie Jones, also like James Cloban changing their name to the Whitechapel Hall, I think it is. Whitechapel. Oh, I can't remember. Whitechapel.
Yeah, but it's new. But anyway, I know it's a JCB. Yeah. But I think the reason behind that is the picture. I think that's the street that the folk centre is on, where he met all of them, because he went in there just to sing as a folk musician, and then met with all the others, and then the James Clobe band came about. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's his.
But they're such a good band, aren't they?
Amazing from day one. Since I first heard of them, as you know, I've had them on my stages many a time, and hopefully they'll be on the Sunday stage for a festival that I'm in negotiation with at the moment. So.
Fair enough. Awesome. So so what's up and coming for you now then? What are you going to be doing now?
Well, the main principles of it, as I say, it's been a year with You and I Radio. It's been a year of hard work for myself, getting it there, because I've looked around through all the years that I've been on the various different radio networks. I've seen how things shouldn't be done and how I think they could be done. So I've been beating myself up trying to create some form of formula with You and I Radio, and I think it's now at the point that I can start looking for really keen, enthusiastic volunteers. I'm looking at turning it into a social enterprise, but before I can do that I need a few more hands on board. So You and I Radio by 2016 will be You and I. At the moment, people seem to think it's a major team behind it, but it's not. It's predominantly me. I've had the likes of yourself and Gemma and people help me along the line, but I need a core team in that I can, because I'm getting bogged down with the admin responsibilities, etc., programming the radio station and stuff. I need to be out and about, taking it on the road, if you like, taking You and I Radio on the road, and know that I've got a team that are on the ball, happy and love what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? So that's phase one. Once I've got that core team in, then I'm going to look at social enterprise, because I intend to train up the first people, and then they become trainers of the successive people that come in. Do you know what I mean? So You and I Radio will be totally non-for-profit. Do you know what I mean? And it will have a social enterprise arm, because I don't think you should have to pay for your music to get higher or lower in the get higher in the ratings. It should be on its own personal merit. Do you know what I mean? So that's going to be hard, because people will try and say, well, you want to do this and you want to do that. I was like, no, I don't. At the moment, a lot of the music is my taste, and people appreciate my taste. But I've just got DJs on board, I've got DJs on boards, I've got presenters sending me material now, so I own to be going out to them to show them what I do, so then they've got their own little network to do their thing and basically syndicate it around the country. And I've got a few links in Africa and Holland and Germany, etc., that I want to get out and do stuff with.
So it's very much kind of becoming this sort of like international affair with music, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and I like that idea in particular, because it gives form to seeing music not just from Cardiff but around the world, stuff that you won't hear before, and stuff which will ultimately inspire you as a person.
Well, just on that point there, I've been listened to, You and I Radio has been listened to at least once. The last time I looked at 142 countries, and we have regular tunes in from Japan, Canada, America, Switzerland, Germany, and it is phenomenal to know that you've got that reach from your front room. Do you know what I mean? And artists and promoters from all around the world saying, oh, please consider us for your radio station. In the beginning, you know, people were like, who are you, what's what? As I say now, I have an inbox full of people asking to be part of it. Do you know what I mean? So I need a team to sift through all of that. Do you know what I mean? But there's a couple of festivals in the pipeline. I did my first big live broadcast from the Hub Festival this year, as you're aware of. I've been invited back to be part of the Free For All next year, so I'm going to have the whole of upstairs for a day. That's going to be my sort of mini Jules Holland. Do you know what I mean? So yes, there's bigger and better pipelines. I've been made an ambassador for an organisation called Music to Deal, and basically they're a collective of people that are ex-industry that tried to change some of the principles from within. And as you can understand, certain doors were shut in their face. So they was like, do you know what? Bugger this. Why don't we team up together and create it? So that's an international network. It's by invite only. Do you know what I mean? So that puts UNI Radio and the artists that I help and champion and promote on a global network. There's a lot of promoters in Cardiff that you can hear an artist on a Monday in one place, on a Tuesday and a Wednesday in another place, and it's all dependent on door sales. UNI Radio, they're not gigs, they're broadcasts. Do you know what I mean? So it's all about the artists, and it's encouraging the artists to do their social media work. You might use Facebook, you might use Twitter, but talk to your local friends, because all we need is an audience. Do you know what I mean? So it's up to you whether you play to a big room or little room, because I'm putting you out to the world globe, so I'm concentrating on making sure that you're being heard globally. So the least you can do is bring a few people with you. Do you know what I mean? If it's free and people don't come, then you've got to start questioning yourself and your music. Do you know what I mean? There's no point in gigging for the sake of gigging. The whole idea is gigging because you want to progress and you want to go somewhere. And inevitably, if you want to get money on the door, you need to be bringing a following. Do you know what I mean? So if you can fill a front room to start with, and they go away, the next time you fill in a hall. Do you know what I mean? It's all about them doing their bit. And that's what I'm finding. There's a few courses and things that I need to work on is to get people to think for themselves.
Awesome, cool. We're going to do one more question. Is it okay if we do one more question on this? How are you feeling it's going? Do you feel it's okay?
Yeah. But they're all lost and fractured because it's like, oh yeah, we've got all this technology, and half of them don't even realise where they're putting their music, that they're not getting anything. You know? If the whole principle is that you to sell your stuff, there are little sites, little micro sites that you can put it on there and you get every penny.
Yeah.
But they're all looking for this glitz and glam, you know, I want to be top one in Spotify and YouTube and stuff like that. So are they, because they're making a bloody fortune. They're making a bloody fortune.
The trouble is that these sites which are there to help artists out,
they're pretty much run by the big boys, because the big boys have realised they can't make money.
How much profit they get out of it is still... How much profit people actually get out of it is still really very minimal.
Well,
like they get
I read something the other day, somebody had
0.0
7 million hits and they made $1,000 on YouTube. That's an artist. Where's the rest of the money going?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. So, you were based in the Brewhouse for your UNI Radio Nights. You've now changed that into Porters in Cardiff. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit more, or do you want to talk about how the nights are going so far?
Well, Basic Praisey, I started in the back room of the Royal Oak 4.5 years ago. I was linked up with a radio station in Manchester. I used to go over there once a month and do marathon interviews and broadcasts. They were supposed to come over and help me do live broadcasts from the Royal Oak. They let me down 3 times, so I was like, bugger it, I'll teach myself. So I was in the Royal Oak for a while, sound engineer from there, went to move to the venue that you was talking about. I was invited along to create some nights. That sort of fell apart in September of this year, the year anniversary of the night. And basically, as much as the venue said they were supporters of unsigned music, it turned out that the nail in the coffin was there wasn't enough money going behind the bar, which tends to be a lot of it. So that's when I sort of changed the principle of the nights, because they're not gigs. As I say, they're more broadcasts. I'm not really interested in web sales. I'm interested in somebody coming in. If you hear something new, you know, when I had my regulars coming into most of the gigs, and they say, do you know what? I'd have never necessarily looked out for them, but do you know what? They were bloody amazing. go away, buy a CD. It's tangible. Do you know what I mean? So moving to Porters, everything happens for a reason, and Porters is the perfect place for You and I Radio because it's like a glorified lounge. And that's what You and I Radio is about. I'm broadcasting into people's front room all around the world, and we're doing it from, if you like, a front room in the centre of Cardiff. I've known Dan for many, many years. The Porters has won a few awards for their diversity, etc., etc. They've got their own theatre and stuff, and it's a nice place to be. And I think You and I Radio and Porters could have a lasting. As I say, we're on a 4-month trial. And it's like anything, I'll do my best, and as long as everybody else does their bit, and they just bring a few people. The nights we've had so far have been great. You get 30, 40 people in there, it looks busy. Whereas in the other venue, because the whole capacity was like 600-700 people, you get 30, 40 people in there, look lost, and it was quite daunting as well for the performance because it was a bloody big stage. Do you know what I mean? They'd come in and just go, oh my God. So being in Porters, it's more closed in, it's more intimate, which also builds confidence with the artist. So I think it's great for You and I Radio, but it's also for Porters. And as soon as I mention to people I want to do a broadcast in Porters, I go, yeah, I love the place, I'm coming.
Yeah, Port, like, again, like, I think, well, this won't go in the video. I think Brewhouse is like one of those places which is very sort of student orientated. It's quite grimy, you know, but Porters, on the other hand, is a very sort of like relaxing lounge and more appreciative.
And it's the creatives as well that are on the stage and stuff that come in and frequent the place. Do you know what I mean? So there's that, even though it's two different fields, you know, you've got theatricals and musicians, but at the end of the day, they're both actors. Do you know what I mean? One's just musically driven and the other one's lyrically driven, but they're both lyrically driven. Do you know what I mean? So the only difference is music in the background rather than backdrops on stage. Do you know what I mean? They're principally the same. So there's that respect. Do you know what I mean? And as much as you try and take independent and unsigned and new music to the mainstream, they're not as open and aware because they've been blinkered and brainwashed into this is what we're telling you is good music from the mainstream day in, day out. Do you know what I mean? So it's not a thought process, you're just listening to some thing that somebody else has created. Don't get me wrong, the mainstream, it needs to be there because a lot of the artists that I'm pushing and championing, I'm hoping that the whole of the world will get to listen to them. Do you know what I mean? But it's how you get there and what you do when you get there. You know, there's some established artists that have been around for 40, 50, 60 years. You don't see them making column inches every week, every month, and they're doing very well. Do you know what I mean? Are you going in it for your music or are you just going in it for 5 minutes of fame?
Because that's the trouble these days. I think a lot of people believe it's just fame.
Yeah.
No one's doing it for the love of music, and I think that's kind of what you're trying to fight for here.
Well, these are the people that I go for, is the people that love music. Do you know what I mean? The first question not on their lips is, who's going to be there? Not, how much am I getting? You know, if you say that to me straight away, I'm a bit edgy because you're in it for the money. I've worked with, I had a very well-known Jamaican artist come and perform for me at one of the first ever gigs that I put on, and it was a disaster. Only about 40, 50 people turned up, and I went to him humbly at the end of the night and said, look, I've only got £30 to give you, and brother, you keep the money, I've seen what you've done. He says, at least if one person has walked away from here that's listened to my music, that's never listened before, you've helped me pass my message. And that's the principle that I keep. Do you know what I mean? And there was, because the night, it was dead before he was about to perform on stage. I walked down the street, I was like, listen guys, there's a free night. Reggae, oh, we've never heard of reggae. I says, well, if you've never heard of reggae, here's an artist that's been in it, you know, he's the one that's in, and they went straight up to him at the end going, man, he pulled us in here, we didn't know who you were, but can I say, we really loved your music. Do you know what I mean? And they're the sort of people I want to work with. Do you know what I mean?
Awesome.
And, go on.
I was going to say, is there anything else you want to add to the end of this, or?
No, I think we're pretty much there. No.
Alright, just one last time so we just get as much as possible. What is the philosophy behind You and I Radio?
The whole philosophy of You and I Radio is a global network where you can tune in any time of day, 24 hours a day, to hear something new. Discovery is listening. You know, give us 1 hour and I'm sure you'll probably find something that you've never heard of before, and we'll probably think you on a completely different tack of music. There's so much music out there, I can't cover everything, but I have a very diverse taste, and I've got more DJs coming on board and presenters, so we're going to be getting the flavour of a world all in one place, and you're not going to be listening to the same thing day in, day out. We have our own Mammoth Monthly playlist, and it's all based on artists that are performing for us. And there's no ego. You and I Radio, there is no ego. It's a platform for you to share your message musically or inspirationally to the rest of the world.
Awesome. Cool. So shall we leave it there?
Yep.
Amazing. I think we've got a lot of good shit.
Cool, cool.
For lack of a better word. Let's turn this off for you. There you go.
Oh, look, my left side's turned.
Radio station. Tell the that we don't give a damn.